Good morning, students. Welcome back to Sri Ramanuja Vidya Mandir. Back to our communication skills class. Well, students, we will continue the same topic as we had in the last time, language building class, idioms. I've given you 5 idioms the last time, and here we continue with the remaining. The 6th one is sit tight. Now, when I say sit tight, you feel that a hefty personality will fit into the chair. Sit tight is a great example of why you can't translate idiom in English word for word. When you translate this sit tight into word-to-word meaning, it will mean that a person is fitting, a very fat person is fitting into a chair. But that's not the sense. It literally would mean that you sit down squeezing your body in a tight way, which if you did would be very uncomfortable. When you sit like that, you're very uncomfortable. You can't move at all. Not to mention you'd look really strange. So when you're sitting like that in a small chair, fitting your body into it, you look very, very strange. But this idiom, sit tight, would not mean as we have just got off. Well, it means, but if a person tells you to sit tight, they want you to wait patiently and take no action until you hear an otherwise. So, what does the idiom mean? It means that you have to wait patiently. So, the meaning of sit tight is you have to wait patiently and take no action. You just sit down and tolerate patiently, wait for something else to happen or some otherwise to be told to you. Till then you need a patience. So sit tight means don't move, don't interfere, don't bother, be patient. That's the meaning of sit tight. Mrs. Carter, do you have any idea when the exam results are going to come out? Who knows, Johnny? Sometimes they come out quickly, but it could take some time. You're just going to have sit tight and wait. So can you see the example, students, here? Johnny is asking Mrs. Carter, do you know or do you have any idea when the results of the exams is going to come? Then Mrs. Carter is saying, who knows, Johnny? Sometimes they come quickly and sometimes they may take time. So till then, we have to sit tight. Means we have to wait patiently. So here we are with the 6th idiom, which means sit tight, which means to stay patiently. Now, the next one, pitch in. Pitch in means to involve in, to interfere in. This phrase actually makes no sense if you try to take it literally. What is the meaning of pitch in? It literally doesn't have a meaning. But what is the meaning of it is, however, figuratively speaking, what the phrase mean is, it means to contribute to something or someone or to join in. To contribute something to somebody or to join in something. Voluntarily to join in some work. Pitch in means all of you all come together and give a hand. That's the meaning over there. So everybody pitched in to make the task easier. Many hands make work easy, like that. So here we are. So if your dad tells the family that he wants everyone to pitch in this weekend and help clear the backyard, it means he wants everyone to join in on the efforts to clear the yard and get things done quicker. Now your backyard is very, very bushy. All the weeds has grown everywhere. So now your dad said all the family members will pitch in this weekend and will clean the backyard. So what is the meaning of pitch in? All of you come together, contribute your services and try to work together. Okay, that is the meaning of pitch in. Here we have the examples. What are you going to buy, Shali, for her birthday? I don't know. I don't have much money. Maybe we can all pitch in and buy her something great. So here Shally doesn't have much money to buy a bigger gift for her friend on her birthday. So another friend has suggested, why don't we all pitch in? Why don't we all come in together and we all together will buy a bigger gift? So that's the meaning here. The above conversation suggests that every one of Shally's friends should contribute a little bit of money so they can afford to buy her a bigger and better present together. So what does it mean? All the friends together will come and they will buy a bigger gift. So we have completed pitch in and we have completed two things today. One is pitch in and the other one is sit tight. Do you notice, students? So we had two idioms completed now. Now go cold turkey. Go cold turkey. Something weird. Sounds very odd. What is go cold turkey? Turkey is a bird, and how can a bird go cold? Sound weird. Well, you're right, it does. How can anyone literally go cold turkey? A person can't transform into the bird we all love to eat for celebrations such as Christmas and Thanksgiving. Any Thanksgiving parties or celebrations, festivals, in the western sides, they cook the turkeys and they eat. Then how could that phrase be go cold turkey? You're asking the turkey to go cold. What does it mean? What is the figurative meaning of it? To go cold turkey mean to suddenly quit or stop addictive or dangerous behavior. To suddenly quit or stop. So the meaning is suddenly some dangerous habit or some alcoholic or drugs or something like that. That kind of habits when you suddenly quit. That means go cold turkey. That means the dangerous thing is removed. That habit is pushed away from you. So that is the meaning. So, to go cold turkey mean to suddenly quit or stop addictive or dangerous behavior such as smoking or drinking alcohol. This idiom is said to have originated in the early 20th century. Okay, it's not an old one. Very recently, in the 20th century, it's made or it's originated, and suggests that a person who suddenly quits something addictive such as drugs or alcohol suffer from side effects that make them look and feel like a cold, unlooked turkey. When you are too much addicted, then what happens? You completely get ruined at your health. You become pale on your skin and you become very weak and you look like a cold turkey. Now you understood. When you are addicted to some dangerous habits, some alcoholic drinks, so you become weak and weak, so weak that you turn pale and you look very, very weak, just like a old or a ready to die turkey or a bird. Now when you say go cold turkey, that means now that weakness, that coldness is removed from you. You're looking again healthy. That means that weakness will be removed because you have quit from that dangerous habit. So that's the meaning. So I repeat once again. It means that when suddenly a person quits something addictive such as drugs or alcohol, suffers side effects that make them feel like a cold, uncooked turkey. When you suddenly see them, they look so unhealthy, they look so weak that they appear like a cold turkey. So now because you have quit, the cold turkey is gone. Go turkey, that means. So this includes pale skin and goosebumps. Goosebumps means, your head standing up and the bumps come up. So like that, it appears, and now you are completely washed away from that. Shall I get your mom a glass of wine? No, she stopped drinking. Really? Why? I don't know. A few months ago, she just announced one day she's quitting drinking. She just quit cold turkey. Yes, just like that. So, conversation between two friends. So, A is asking, shall I get some wine for your mother? B says, no. My mother stopped drinking. A said, really? Why? B said, I don't know. Suddenly one day, few months back, she announced she quit drinking. Then A said, She just quit cold turkey. She just quit. Now, till now, she was looking weak, old, pale, because she's addicted to the drug. Okay, too much when you drink, you become weak. So she got addicted, and that addiction is removed. Now she's healthy. So go cold turkey. She just quit cold turkey. Yes, that's right. B says. So this conversation tells you to go cold turkey means somebody who's looking very, very ill healthy because of the addiction of some dangerous things like alcoholic drinks and drugs. And once when they quit those bad habits, that means they say go cold turkey. Means no more weakness in them. Go cold turkey. That's the meaning. So something strange, something mostly not used. So these kind of unique things, when you use, you looked upon, you look good at your English. Fine. Now the next one is face the music. Now generally when we say face the music, you feel that there is a music going on and you're all facing that music. You're looking into it. But no, that's not the meaning here. In literally terms, facing the music means turning your body to the direction of the music and standing in front of it. You're turning towards the music and you're standing in front of it. But if your friend or your parents tell you to face the music, there's a much harsher meaning. It's not music is something beautiful, something recreation, something enjoying. So somebody when they say face the music, you may think, okay, something like enjoying, recreation, entertainment. No. It's something a bit harsher. Face the music means face the consequences. It means to face reality. So what does that word face the music mean? It means to face the reality or to deal with the reality of the situation and accept all the consequences, good or bad. Mostly bad. Generally when we say face the music, you ought to face the music. That means you have to face. Don't turn your back and run away. Withstand yourself and face the music. That's the meaning. Perhaps you've been avoiding something because you feel unsure or scared of the outcome. You're feeling insecure or you're scared, you're frightened of the result. Then you are asked. Maybe you lied to your teacher and she discovered the truth, and now you have to face the music and accept the punishment. Maybe something wrong you have done and you have told a lie to your teacher, but your teacher recognized, and then she said, you have to face the music. So what is it? You have to get the punishment for whatever bad you have done. So face the music over here generally represents the results, the consequences, but mostly not good but bad. So face the music means whatever tough times will come to you, you have to face it. Never mind, take a punishment, but try to withstand and try to go for remedies. I can't understand why I failed math. You didn't study hard, so you're going to have to face the music and take the classes again next semester if you really want to graduate when you do. So one person is saying, A is saying, I don't know why I've got less marks or I failed in maths. B said, because you did not study. At least now face the music and try to revise or restudy everything for the next semester if you really want a graduation. So escaping will never make you perfect. You have to face the music. Whenever you want to withstand or whenever you wanted to uplift in your life, build a career for yourself. Remember, students, you have to face the music. That means you have to face the consequences. So we have completed again here with face the music. Once again repeat. Today we had sit tight. The next one we had pitch in. The next one we had cold turkey. And then we had face the music. So now we have completed 4. Fine. Next one. Ring a bell. So generally we ring a bell, like a school bell or a temple bell. We'll see what this ring the bell is. If we look at the literal meaning of ring a bell, it's just that you could be ringing the school bell to tell students it's time to go to class, or ringing someone's doorbell, like a temple bell or a doorbell or ringing a school bell, whatever. But here the figurative meaning is not that. But the idiom means that somebody has mentioned something that sounds familiar to you. Perhaps you've heard it before. When somebody is saying something, you say, wait, I ring a bell. That means in your mind the bell rings. Yes, somewhere you heard about that name. Somewhere you heard about that event. The bell is ringing. That's the meaning. Ring a bell means something which is familiar, known to you, but suddenly it's not coming out. You try to recollect and then it comes out. That is ring the bell. Right. So, but the idiom means that somebody has mentioned something that sounds familiar to you. Perhaps you heard it before. In other words, when someone says something that you believe you'd heard in the past, alarm bell start ringing and you try to remember how or why that name or place sounds familiar. So it's nothing. It's just like a reminder bell. In that way you can remember. A reminder bell means when somebody says something, you try to remember it. That means ring a bell. Suddenly a bell rings and then you say yes, and then you remember. So that's the meaning of ring the bell. You've met my friend Amy Adams, right? I'm not sure, but that name rings a bell. Was she the one who went to Paris last year? So can you see? I'm not sure, but that name rings a bell. Ring a bell means it's recollecting something. Is it the person who went to Paris last year? So now you must have understood the meaning of ring a bell, a recollection, what we can say. Blow off steam. Steam. When you say steam, you can understand anger. Blow off steam. See, when you put a pressure cooker on the stove and when the steam comes out, the steam blows and you can't expect the steam to be coming out of your ears. Of course not. But still, blow off steam means to blow off your anger, to put out your anger. That's the figurative meaning. Anyway, in reality, a person cannot blow off steam, the hot rising air from boiling water. Only electrical equipments can, such as the electrical jug, appliances for boiling water or coffee. So what does it mean when a person blows off steam? What is the meaning of blows off steam? How can you blow off steam out of your body? The figurative meaning is you're trying to put off your anger. If you're feeling angry, stressed, or experiencing some strong feeling and you want to get rid of them so you feel better again, you will blow off steam by doing something such as exercising or getting rid of the stress. Please blow off your steam through some yoga. You can blow off the steam by meditating. Heard these words. So blow off the steam is you're trying to put away your irritation and anger by practicing some exercise. Okay, laughter-therapy. You must have seen Shankar Dada MBBS. He tries to go with a laughter therapy. He tries to laugh. Why? Because he's trying to blow off the steam, his irritation. He's trying to blow off. How? With a laughter therapy, or listening to some music, or go for a jog, or for a swim. Anything. Blow off steam, students. Steam means boiling. Your blood is boiling. You're angry. Simple. You have to blow it off. You have to push it out. By what? With some exercise or listening to music or some therapy you apply. So that's the meaning of blow off steam. We'll go with the example. Why is Nick so angry and where did he go? He had a fight with his brother, so he went for a run to blow off steam. Understood? Why is Nick angry? Because he fought with his brother and to blow off the steam. Generally boys do this. When the parents scold them to blow off steam, they bang the door and walk out. They'll sit with their friends for some time, curse, whatever they wanted to speak about their father, mother. They say my life is miserable, and then finally they come back, become normal. So this is blow off steam. Blow off steam means you just walk out of the house. Blow off steam means you just close your doors, sleep on the bed. So there are some methods to blow off your steam. So here we had, why is Nick so angry and where did he go? He had a fight with his brother, so he went for a run to blow off steam. So you got it. Cut to the chase. A lengthy talk. You have to cut to the chase. When somebody tells you to cut to the chase, it means that you've been talking too long and haven't gotten to the point. When a person uses this idiom, they're telling you to hurry up and get to the important part without all the details. Cut to the chase. Means you're chasing for something, and on the way, whatever you see, would you mind it? Definitely no. Simple. You're chasing somebody. Now, as you are chasing, where is your target? Only on the person who's running away from you. And whatever happenings around, you don't bother, you don't see, because your target is there. Same thing. When you want a result, why do you want somebody, when you ask somebody, what happened when you went and told your father? Actually at 4 o'clock when I went home, my mother was actually cooking and my father was, a man, cut to the chase and tell me what actually happened. So you don't want all this because your target is on what your father said. So this is called cut to the chase. Fine. So when a person uses this idiom, they're telling you to hurry up and get to the important part without all the details. Be careful how you use this idiom, because if used while talking to someone like a college professor or your boss, it's rude and disrespect. Supposing your boss is saying, your teacher is saying, or an elderly person is saying, you should have patience and you have to listen. You can't say cut to the chase. You can't. They get irritated. They get angry. You have to bear to all the nonsense what they tell till they reach the destiny. They reach their final word. So that also you have to bear. You can't use wherever you want. You know the literal meaning. Literal meaning is cut short all this nonsense and tell me the final thing. This you can't say to a respected elderly person. It's rude on your behalf. So you're not supposed to say that. Fine. We'll see the example now, students. If you're speaking to a group of people like your employees, or say I'm going to cut the chase, it means that there are a few things that need to be said by their very little time. So you'll skip to the important parts so everyone understands. Now, superior can come and say this word. Say for example, he is on a meeting, already people were waiting for the dinner, everybody is coming and lengthy hours and hours they are speaking. Then finally a person comes and says, well, since the time is very less, I would like to cut to the chase and come to the final point. And he says, that's good. You can use that idiom there, saying, I would, though you have your heads in front of you, you're not talking directly to them. You're not saying, you're telling to all your colleagues who are around you, since the time is lacking, I'm cutting to the chase. Chase means to the final word. So there it is accepted. Hi guys, as we don't have much time here, so I'm going to cut to the chase. We've been having some major problems in the office lately. So well, my dear colleagues, I would like to cut to the chase and come to the information talk, to the final talk. We recently had some problems in the office, blah, 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 whatever, those problems. Direct. So this is called cut to the chase. And so students, we have completed the idioms, few idioms with verbs. And in the next class, we are going to complete few idioms with the prepositions. So till then, have a nice day. Thank you.